Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Everyday Finance with Jay. My name is Jay. Let's talk about how 52% of Americans are doing this wrong in their retirement account. And the data was gathered by Vanguard, published in their 2019 How America Saves article. And before I jump into that, let me share a story with you guys. You might be able to identify with it. After graduating college, at my first job, I contributed enough to the retirement account to get the employer match, but I didn't know what to do with the portfolio. So I purchased a lifecycle fund or target date fund. Basically, it has a name and then a year at the end, like 2055. And what that is that a lifecycle fund, the company that holds it, will invest money for you and planning on to have the account ready for your retirement at the date of your retirement. Let's say you're 30 years old today, you anticipate to retire at 65, and there'll be 35 years from now. So as of right now, you might want to choose a life cycle fund of 2055. But depends on how comfortable you are with risk, you might be able to choose something riskier. Investing using a target date fund or a life cycle fund makes investing your retirement account easy. But there's a catch, and this is what I'm going to share with you guys today, is the fee. The fee doesn't seem very much because I was thinking back then that 0.6%, I was comfortable paying that much to have professionals who invest as their full-time job look after my portfolio. But I was wrong about how much more they can earn than an average investor. And the fee sometimes might not be worth having that. And here is why. A study conducted by Vanguard, who pioneered index funds, which are passively managed portfolios, found out that only 12% of active portfolio managers, who are the ones that control your retirement account, if you do like a life cycle or target date fund, only 12% of them outperformed a passively managed index funds. That means that 8 out of 10 fund managers do worse than a passively managed index funds. And on top of that, not only do 8 out of 10 perform worse, they charge 10, 20, or even more than that times amount in fees compared to a passively managed index fund. You might be thinking, if I can't rely on professionals to look after my retirement account, what else can I do? Instead of my opinion, let me tell you what legendary investor Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of all times, will recommend the average Americans do. He suggests that the average American should invest in index funds which are passively managed instead of actively managed portfolios like a life cycle or a target date fund. And in fact, he was so sure about this that he made a $1 million bet to over a 5 to 10 year span compared to a actively managed fund manager versus a passively managed index fund. And let me ruin the surprise for you. The results was not surprising from my perspective, but to everyone else watching, is that the passively indexed fund actually outperformed the professionals at their own game that they do as a full-time job. If you're interested in that whole story and more details, I have a link down below. Here is a question now. How should you invest in index funds? How can you apply what you just learned in real life? And here's how. First, determine the level of risk that you're comfortable with. And what I mean by that is determine a split between stocks and bonds that you're comfortable, like 60% stocks, 40% bonds. Depends on what age you are. If you're in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, you can be more aggressive compared to somebody in their 50s, assuming everyone retires at the age of 65, because if you're younger, you have more time to let your money stay in the market, which means that even if you're too aggressive and lose some money, there's a longer period of time to recoup that loss compared to somebody who's looking at retirement in 10 or 20 years. Let's go through some example. I'm going to use a 70-30 split between stocks and bonds. And so basically in your retirement account, 401k or something similar, there are typically not that many choices for you to choose from. So look through each of the choices and I will just Google it and see what the fund is about and how aggressive it is. And also look for passively managed index funds. Since I've been using Vanguard as an example throughout the video, I just recommend look up some of their broad-based index funds, like a total market for your stocks and a total market for your bonds. And if you would like to diversify your stocks even more, you can look at the total market international fund. This way your stocks is a little bit more diversified. And to mimic a lifecycle fund, let's say 10 years, 20 years from now, you're closer to retirement than as you are now today, you can be less aggressive. So you can reduce down your 70% in stocks down to 60, and then increase your bond allocation to 40%. This way, you're not paying that much fee and you're also not doing that much work. In fact, Vanguard and other investment companies such as Fidelity, Charles Schwab, and other companies, they offer great low-cost index funds. Let's review what we covered today. Is that actively managed portfolios, they charge you a fee, and sometimes the fee could be worth it, but only 12% of the time do actively managed portfolios outperform their counterpart. There's a study done by Vanguard. And if you flip a coin, heads or tails, that's a 50-50% for each of them, and you're not always right. So picking something like your retirement account, as important as that, there's only a 12% picking the right one. Just looking at the numbers and the statistics, I think is a lot safer to stick with passively managed index fund. It might not be the most best thing you can brag about to your coworkers and other people, but over a long period of time, like the bet Warren Buffett made, the passively managed index fund will typically return a consistent value compared to a actively managed fund. Thank you so much for your support, and please comment down below if you have any other questions about finance, and please subscribe and like this video. Have a good day.
I watch you as you drive. Do you know